from a really fascinating country. I'm here with Chutayaves Sinthuphan. Please, my pronunciation is terrible. Anyhow, welcome to the curator of Thai Pavilion. And this is a real example on how the architecture could be such a resilience tool to protect the heritage, the country heritage, and to deal with sustainability and also natural and spirituality. We're going to break down these topics with Chutayaves. The title of this project is, you want to say, so you're going to explain from the title on everything.
Okay. Sawadee krap. Thank you for having me, Simona. Well, the title of the exhibition for the Thai Pavilion this year is called SPACECRAFTED, right? Negotiations within Thai design ecosystems. Basically, what we are talking about is, basically, it's not super easy or straightforward to be working in Thailand. There is a lot of whatchamacallit, let's say, sometimes, you actually have to be very strong and vigilant about, getting the things done your way, but sometimes you have to play the soft side of things. So taking that, for example, so we want the audience to understand how the entirety of Thai design ecosystem based on architecture, and it became basically the title of our work. And this year we invited 18 different firms to display their work as part of the Thai Pavilion, and it covers a range of the ecosystem, from architects who actually working with materials to develop new materials. For example, the salt block, construction salt made from bricks, uh, construction brick made from salt, to the end users that designing pavilion using kind of like the old traditional technique, but in a contemporary ways.
So that's why spacecrafted Thai design ecosystems and resilience. I have to remind the audience that the committee is the Office of Contemporary Art and Culture, the Ministry of Culture of Thailand, and Chutayaves here with me today is the curator. And as you mentioned, you have such a long names has yeah, no, not yours, but also all the people that you involve in this project is really groundbreaking. And so I also know that there are 5 simple questions and 5 pillars on which you design and you envision the project. Can you say which one are?
Yes. So the 5 pillars, can I share the screen? Can you turn on the share screen for me, please? Anyway, so the 5 pillars that we are talking about is basically, it's kind of like the interplay between resources, knowledge, design thinking, heritage, and spirituality. That is something that um uh you know what we see is, as Thai design, um the architecture of a community is based on, right? I mean, so this is kind of like the synopsis of our um of our exhibition. And basically, we, of course, being at the Biennale, we cannot tell the whole story in detail, but I think we give an example enough for ones to understand how especially to looking at every angles of the architecture that people are working on in Thailand that are based on these five structures. Yeah. So we have someone who actually, for example, started a hand-built architecture school, using wood, bamboo, and even earth. Um, so that sort of going back to basic and to the old crafts is something that we are very interested in, because at the same time, the same detail that was making in woods are being employed by contemporary architect to make wooden architecture. That's quite contemporarily. But at the same time, there is a group of people also that actually doing steel building, but based on the similar language that traditional wooden architecture in Thailand were created in the past. Yeah.
You are also mostly rooted in spirituality while you are designing, and this is the holistic vision of your culture. And so you consider design as as an area in which you have to deal also not only with functionality but with spirituality. Can you break down a little bit more this association? How you, because for us, is spirituality is not contemplated in design so much.
Right. Right.
So we would like to know more about this
Yeah.
concept.
Well, I think it's the Asian way of thinking that everything has a spirit. If you look at every house in Thailand, there is always a little small architecture that sits in either in the front or in the back of the house that is a spiritual house,
It's
right?
like the
And
Shinto, the Japanese,
very similar.
in a way. Okay.
Yeah. Very similar. So basically, what we think of it is that, this is how the structure is, the exhibition in structure is that we have, introduction that talks about, the overall image. We have a display or an area of the Thai design ecosystem, right, to tell you what it is. And then the idea, the zone 3 is this 18 projects that is part of this ecosystem. So what it is that um, this Thai design ecosystem that we talk about educator, architects, builder, craftsmen, designers, researchers, and conservators. But at the same time, things in Thai design, it's always connected to beliefs of spirituality. Doesn't have to be religion, right? Sometimes it's just the spirit of being who we are. And this is kind of like the zone that we start talking about how this Thai design ecosystem works, anything from politics to our natural resources and to that you actually start seeing the temple buildings, as part of kind of like this display. You can see a traditional architecture here, with how we actually would use, a lot of this uh, uh, architecture. So, so the way we displaying this is that even though spirituality especially in this place, we do have a temple as part of this project, but instead of talking about temple as a sacred place, we talk about it in terms of how the architecture of this temple actually designed to be related to the spirit of nature, how it would work with the wind, how it would work with the ventilation system, and how it would work with the lights at different times. So that is the term of spirituality that we are talking about. So it's not out the spirit in our case, it's not religion, it's not something that super sacred, but it's something that uh is part of the natural phenomena that that do happens, but we encapture them and use them in architecture, and that what actually makes the architecture that we're talking about uh related to the natural environment, which for us that kind of like the spirit of nature and the spirit of architecture combined.
And which were the main challenges you have to cope to realize this project in broad and to conceive also and to adapt in order that it could be um, understandable
Yeah,
and for the different audiences?
yeah. So it is. I mean, what we have is that you can see at some of this example. For example, this red door. It's actually an old temple door that an architect actually has been working with 3D printing mycelium. So it's the
Oh.
roots of the mushrooms, right? And basically, she's trying to combine the traditional architecture with the forefront of the new technologies. So that's also part of the spirituality that we're talking about, is that a temple always seems traditional, and this particular one is a very traditional temple door. But at the same time, marrying into the basically the latest material, even it's still being studies at the moment, and at the same time, technology that's been adapted to make that viable. That connection that we are interested in, and it's about negotiation, but at the same time, it's about the contrast, between the two things. And it's about, so that sort of marriage is something that we want people to understand, that in Thailand, even though we do talk a lot and the image that goes out into the world, it's mostly traditional things, but we are actually pushing the limit of the architectural designs within that framework at the same time. Yeah.
And then, as far as I review all the materials I found, but everybody knows because lots of people, of course, is a fan of Thailand and your lifestyle. And definitely you have such an incredible range of natural materials.
Yes, we do. We do. And even that we trying to, of course we have, I think, I mean, any the materials available in Thailand, we have tremendous amount of woods, in the tropical place. We do have wood now that are um harvest, in the correct way. We don't cut natural trees anymore. Basically, it's
Okay.
farm tree at the moment. And it's highly renewable, right? So that material. And you can see that some of us, for example, this vertical image here, it's a firm, a studio make that actually make their own architecture. They're more into details of the architecture, and that's how they always start their building. Instead of starting big and becoming small, they're starting small and become bigger space. For example, this solar salt pavilion is work in three different layers. First of all, the pavilion itself is designed so that the salt makers who are actually facing the problem with climate change, unpredictable rain,
Uh,
um, it's been very difficult for them to make salt. So this pavilion actually talks about how they can actually build a greenhouse and actually make salt in greenhouse so that they can make salt all year round. In the old days, they can only make in the dry season. At the same time, it also embody basically trying to revive the old traditional craft of indigo dye within that area, because indigo grow well in a salty environment. So we employ this indigo dye fabric to basically create a clock. This become this
mhm.
shading device, right? And we actually also use those salt to actually make the salt blocks. So this is kind of like the three-layer system that the designers work with the local salt makers, but at the same time trying to push it into something else that's very new. right? So it's solving problem at the same time creating new potential market for salt makers so that their salt can become something that, you know, more valuable and, you know, it can be highly priced. So it solves a lot of social issues at the same time, not just design issues. Yeah.
And how you align this project with the, I would say, suggestions from Carlo Ratti and
Yeah.
um, his theme,
Yeah.
intelligence.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna scroll too fast. I'm gonna slow down.
No, no, it's okay. I'm not turning my mind, but it's
Yeah.
fine. I can see a
Well,
very quick
so
thing. Ah, here it is.
yeah, they had there
Okay.
he is, right? So one intelligent, natural, artificial, and collective, right?
Yeah.
Basically what we're talking about also it's basically that one question that he asked during our talking sessions that we have quite often, which is very good, you know, all the curators meet online, is that he want us to talk about one place, one solutions. But for us in Thailand, that's kind of like impossible. Like it's such a it's a country with so diverse cultures, you know, and languages.
Oh,
So for us, Thailand is not
yeah.
it's one place, yes, but we have many journeys, we have many solutions, but altogether we have one common goal. Is basically that one common goal is to lift, you know, the society, making us a little bit greener, you know, a
Yes.
little bit regenerative maybe, and at the same time trying to create what we are consider basically kind of like the one of the most diverse biologically locations in the world to
Yeah.
become of a a ground that can start um a new paradigm in terms of, you know, architecture and development work. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you develop. It depends on the areas. A certain way of creating hard crafts and design, and also because you have to challenge. I think also nature sometimes because you have harsh times from time to time. So I was reading paragraph in which they highlight the skills you developed in
Yeah.
collecting rain from the roofs.
Yeah.
So you have to deal with that kind
Yeah.
of massive flooding and rain.
Yep.
Uh, okay.
And, and it's also happened is that there's certain area of Thailand that's it's not as dry as the desert, but it's more arid than anywhere else. But and certain area just have lots of rain, basically 8 months of rain and 4 months of dry. You know, so within that kind of like change and difference, we have different solutions and different negotiations, you know, that happening. So that's why I think, you know, this sort of, you know, one place, mini journey, mini solutions, one common goal fits us better than, you know, one place, one solution. Yeah.
Okay, so you are exactly in Castello Gallery, and that is,
Yes, we are. We are.
yeah.
We are.
Let's
Yes.
talk a little bit about your pavilion and why you suggest to visit, how people can interact, how can enjoy much
Yeah.
better the project.
Yeah. Yeah. So the pavilion itself doesn't talk about just architecture, but we talk about architects, craftsmen, researchers, designers, builder, educator, conservators, and this is what we're trying to talk about is that this 18 project is not just architect, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
even though it's the Biennale and we want, but our ecosystem is so wide and varieties. So Castello Galleries, it's actually, I think it's actually a perfect spot, you know, between the Arsenale and Giardini. So
Mm-hmm.
we sit at like a perfect corner. When people have wine in the afternoon, they can enter back. When they walk around, between the two places, they can enter from the front, which I think, it's quite a nice location where we are. And so that's image from the front, that's image from the back. I'm sure you know all about this place.
Oh, very
But
nice.
anyway, when we enter the space, this is what you welcome with, right? This is kind of the triangle for us symbolize a lot of the Thai architecture, the roof, the Buddha, there are a lot of elements
Oh,
in Thailand.
interesting.
Right? So
Okay.
instead of just using that as, kind of like in the traditional way, we made it into three-dimensional objects, and then trying to um, deform it a little bit so that it's interplay with the space and the architecture that we're trying to talk about, and it basically become kind of like this place where you actually have to go through it. For example, this first space in the middle, the golden one, you actually have to go through and go in and to this kind of like also a very narrow space. So our exhibitions divide into this introductions on the wall, and
Yeah.
then Thai design ecosystem is this golden piece, and then the other three pieces talks about the third zone talks about the 18 projects, and then zone 4 is the diagram that talks about how all these projects come together and overlap in a way. Uh, so so you can see that we spread out, out display from to through the window sills to some of these kind of like panels. But at the same time, you can see this triangle entrance. It's also, we're trying to make it very similar to kind of like the door um of Thai temple, is that it's usually narrow from the top, but it's traditionally it's parallelogram. But since this theme is about triangle, so we're trying to abstract it a bit more and become triangle. So when you go through this, you will see that we talk about the Thai design ecosystem inside. And since the architecture talks about crafts, the exhibition talks about crafts, craft of the architecture itself. So we actually want to bring a bunch of illustration. So not just computer graphic or hand drawn, but we actually have craftsmen that work on, with fabric and clothes. So
Oh,
she actually artists that actually stitch a lot of architecture drawings for us. So instead of just having line drawings, we actually have um a very well sewn and embroidered, like basically it's embroidered images, of the rice paddies, the urban area, and even there's one display that might not be in here, that it's about looking through window
yeah.
to the city park. So these are the things that you can talk about. And then when you come to zone 3, basically it talks about the 18 project that we try to pick so that it spreads throughout the country. So there's a sample from everywhere, and and all of this combined. And in the back, if you look at the back wall over there, that's the diagram of
Yeah.
talking about 18 project fits within the 5 pillars of frame, and how some of them actually overlap and related to one another. Even though they're designed by different architects, there seems to be a lot of ideas and spirit that embody them and link them together.
Okay. We have 3 minutes left. The last
Okay.
question is why for you is relevant to be present at the Biennale?
Well, I think Venice Biennale is the most premier um, events for architects in the world. And I think we just have to be a part of this conversation that is discussed, within the architecture world. And I think our present and our statement is something that we have to deliver, and it's become something quite important for people to understand how where we stand in terms of the state of architecture and design. Um, And we have been part of the Biennale for 20 years. So we skip a year or two, but we have been consistently part of the Biennale, which and you will see that different curators will curate different things, but I think this is the first time that we're trying to talk about architecture of Thailand as a whole and not just one topic and not just one person. So we're trying to basically give almost like an explanation and kind of like almost like for one can understand the landscape of architecture that's happening in Thailand. And this is
Your
some,
purpose, your
yeah, this
main
is
purpose.
definitely our
So you're
purpose this
gonna
year.
stay on until the end of September or
Yes.
November?
No, November. We'll on
Oh,
until the very
okay. Until
November.
the end of
November.
November
Yeah.
is free admission, so
Yeah.
it's
Free
free.
admission and yeah. So you don't have to even pay to go to the Biennale to
And
get
it's
there.
a little delve inside the beautiful Thailand vision architecture. It's a way to know more about your culture and your places. And so I wish to have the possibility of meeting you one day in person. You never know. Maybe I will join you in Thailand one day.
I
And
go every year, so
in the meanwhile, I thank you so much, Chutayaves Sinthuphan, the curator of Thai Pavilion. Thank you to be here with me. And yeah, definitely, if people want to know more about your pavilion, you can go and directly dive into the Biennale sites, and you have a site for this project. You want to give a reference, or they
well,
find.
we have a base Facebook page, Thailand Pavilion.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah, I saw you have a few things, different video, and yeah, they can find all the information online. Okay,
please visit us in Venice if you come. Castello Gallery. It's a great place. Lots of
yeah,
restaurants around. Yeah.
okay,
All
okay.
right.
Thank you. Thank
Thank you very
you.
much, Simon. สวัสดีครับสวัสดีครับ